We don't make any promises, though.
Yeah. Hey, we're live. Good Friday
Yes.
morning, afternoon, middle of the wait, 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 middle of the night. Oh, hold on. Okay. Um, no, I gotta mute myself. You'd think it would remember my
Your
preferences.
settings, yes.
No, of course not. So here we are. It's the end of another week. I know I, for one, am looking forward to a 3-day weekend. I know you are too. You're going away. Lucky
Yes,
you.
Pittsburgh.
Yay. Go do something and feel like a real person.
Yeah,
Uh,
pretty much.
yeah. I'm just going to sit and watch it snow.
Yeah, well, when deers and rabbits are using your trails to get through the snow, that's
It,
kind of
it's
wow.
pretty deep.
Yeah.
It's pretty deep. I took Max out yesterday for a snowshoe and packed the snowshoe trails all down. Well, when he and I went out this morning, there were deer tracks, the snowshoe bunnies were there, and I think there was a fox because there was a much smaller. Max has got a foot like this, okay?
Wow.
I mean, his paw will literally fit in the palm of my hand. So
Oh
he's
my
got a
gosh.
big, yeah, he's big boy, big foot. So there was this very tiny little petite dog.
Canine.
Yes. And it was like, oh, must be we have a fox. I hope I have fox babies this year. So, anyway, that has nothing to do with bookkeeping or nothing to do with handmade businesses or whatever. I thought we would continue this week with a little more discussion about good old social media and marketing. And I, for those of you who use the log into certain apps or websites with that sign in with Google button, I hate to tell you, that's going away. Yeah, arrivederci. So I seriously suggest that you start going and creating usernames and passwords on all of those sites because otherwise you're not going to get in.
Well,
Uh,
you could probably log in with Facebook, but I really wouldn't recommend that.
No, because the next thing we know, the login with Facebook button is going to go away.
And it's not just so much that is that it's just it's best to have a username and password combination for each and every website that you must log into. I know that that is a huge pain in the behind, but Facebook has been hacked and it will be hacked again.
Oh yeah,
And the last time they were hacked, they whoever hacked them made off with a ton of personal information from people who have accounts on Facebook. So if you're logging in with Facebook, then they're going to have that information as well. So yeah, just I know it's terrible. Suck it up. Username password combination for everything.
and there's a way to manage that rather than a piece of paper that you have on your desk or a Word document that you have on your computer. There are password manager programs that
Yes.
will run on a Windows PC, they'll run on a Mac, they'll
Run
run.
on your phone. Dashlane, which is what I use, and I think Nancy does too, absolutely has a phone app for both iPhone and Android.
Yes,
So
and it's super easy.
you don't even have to make your own passwords. It will make passwords for you and
Yeah,
remember them for you.
and if it has a free version, and a free version will allow you to sync two devices. So it would be a laptop and your phone. Um, and I think it's just limited to two. Now, if you spend $29 a year, okay, that's pennies, absolute pennies to alleviate a whole huge flipping headache.
Yep.
You can sync and use it on multiple devices. Now, I don't know about you, but I spend the $29 a year.
I do. My only problem with it is they don't have a Kindle app.
Yeah, and I don't think any of the password managers, LastPass or there's a couple others. I don't think anybody has a Kindle app.
You know what? I really don't mind if I'm logging into something on my Kindle, and I don't know the password for it, and I don't know a lot of my passwords because of Dashlane. I just take out my phone, look it up. You can do that. You can look up what your password is for any website, and just use it. Then Sarah,
I know. I just saw her. Hi, how are you? You got to turn your volume up, dear.
Or your microphone on.
There you are.
Yes. Yeah, I am here. I finally made it.
Good to see you.
Yeah, it's been a bit. I may have to get up in a frantic hurry. We might get a knock on the door. We have people coming in to paint our door today.
I see that you have sheets all hung up behind you.
Yeah, well, so the thing is, when I do my streaming, behind me is the kitchen. So if I stream, I stream my studio time on Twitch. It means that other people who live here can use the kitchen without being on camera. Because yay, tiny apartment syndrome.
Yeah.
Not only that, they don't necessarily have to be dressed and have an oops moment.
Yeah, they could be, if they're stumbling around going, coffee. Like that is, I didn't want to just have that happen. So like, curtain.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's why that setup is there, which is hilarious because you can see through enough that a couple times when I've been streaming on Twitch, people have gone, "You've got a ghost," because there's someone behind.
It's just not a ghost; it's my husband.
Roommate, but yeah. Yeah, exactly. And it's like I figured there was just too much, it's not fair to say you can't come in the kitchen, and it's not fair to be like, yeah, you're going to be on camera, so just no curtain.
There you go. Seriously. Yeah, I have the same problem if my husband is here working in the morning, because behind me, that mess over there, that's his desk.
Okay.
And he, like me, he talks to himself when he's coding software. And also, like me, some of the conversations he has with himself is not fit for even sometimes the dog to hear.
And I'm going to mute for a sec because I got a phone call.
So yeah, it gets very interesting. So seriously, I highly recommend Dashlane to people.
Yes.
And go ahead and try it out for free. Okay, see how easy it is. I would suggest you start by using it on your PC, and because it's just faster and it's more intuitive, and get some passwords into it, and the whole 9 yards, and then sync it with another device. Now it works differently between your computer and on a device. On your computer, all you have to do is you install the Dashlane plugin either in Chrome or Firefox, and you go to a website and it'll automatically log you in. I mean, it's like magic. It's wonderful. On my phone or my iPad, I actually have to have the Dashlane app open.
Yep.
And go to do a search and say I want to go to Ravelry.
Yeah, sorry about that. I got a scam call, but I didn't know it was a scam call because I have to take it because that's my cell is my business phone.
Don't I hate that?
Oh, I just troll them in Welsh until I hang up.
No, but I know what you mean because I'm looking for another job, and I get so much spam phone calls, but I have to answer them in case it's somebody wants to
So,
actually.
unfortunately, that phone line is like what I put on like my business phone is my cell phone, and which is fine. But yeah, then it's like I can't just know. So sorry about that. I talked to them in Welsh for about not very long, and they hung up. So.
That's fun. Yeah. These scammers are getting awful. What I did was I set up a Google Voice phone number, and that's what
Oh.
I use for all of. I mean, if you go to yarnybookkeeper.com or fancifulhandmadethings.com, the contact phone number is a Google Voice phone number.
Oh.
And it comes right into my email as a recording, and sometimes Google's smart enough that it can
Determine if it's spam.
determine if it's spam or just transcribe it. I almost said transpose. Guess I'm really thinking numbers this morning, huh? But I mean, you can tie it to your cell phone number. I mean, yeah, at some point, like the sign in with Google button, Google Voice phone numbers will probably go away. But you could do a Skype number too.
It's usually not. Sorry, it's usually not too bad, but I get them occasionally on my cell phone. But funnily enough, after I talk to them in Welsh, they don't call back usually.
Well, we don't get any here at the office, but at home, oh my God. And they have even spoofed our home phone number so it looks like we're calling ourselves.
Oh, I got a phone call from one woman said, "Want to know why I'd called her mother?" And I said, "I didn't call your mother. And what was I trying? Oh, she wanted to know why I was calling her mother and what I was trying to sell her." And I said, "I'm so sorry." I said, "I didn't call anybody." But yes, they scoop up private phone numbers from people. And yes, use them to ghost in to do these spam calls. So that was an interesting.
So at home, and I feel so bad for the people who really want to call us and leave a message, but my husband.
I'm sorry.
Oh boy! All right.
My husband has like a very bizarre sense of humor, and he figured if you robocallers are calling us, we are going to be as annoying as you are. So he starts out with, "Great news! Nancy and I just both bought warranties for our truck, so we're covered twice." And then he goes on to say, Microsoft called the other day and they fixed our computers. And the very next day, Apple called and they fixed the exact same computer. So now we know everything's really good. And the IRS has fixed our fraud problem. And they hear fraud problem and it's like, bingo, gone. But he does go on to say, and we just paid off our IRS debt with Target credit gift cards. And and he changes these up like I don't know, every couple of months, and some people just call just to see what the hell he's done this time. I have made up my mind. I am doing the next one. It's going to be, "Hello, you have reached the IRS or no, the FBI fraud unit. All of the fraud agents are currently available, but your call is very important to us. Please hold for the next available fraud agent." And we're going to see how that goes.
Well, and the thing is, here we get similar scam calls about because it's Canada Revenue Agency, and so you get the tax calls that are scam. And the problem is, so one of the people I live with, she's bilingual in French and English, And so that's what she does to these poor people. She talks to them in French, and again, most of them will not understand. However, because the CRA is an official federal agency in Canada, and they have to be able to use French, at one point it actually was the CRA, and he switched right into French. And she's like, oh, wait, what do you mean you actually are? Oh, you're actually these people. Okay, hang on. And then went through the security process and so on and so forth that they've been calling to do. And there was quite a process because they were like, yes, we called you, here's all the process you have to do to like verify you and verify us. And of course you can go back if you're not sure. But she switched into French because she thought it was a scam. And then he switched into French right along with her. And she's like, wait a minute, are you actually the CRA?
that would make it worth just learning a different language, wouldn't it?
Well, then that's what I honestly do. Like, if I get a scam call, I keep them on the line in Welsh because I figure there's not much chance of them understanding me.
No, not much.
But in Canada, there's enough people who speak French that occasionally you'll get a scammer who can speak French.
So we've gone down enough little bunny trails, yes. Nancy. Keep us in order.
Okay.
Back on topic.
So manage your passwords with Dashlane or LastPass or KeePass or whatever. Just get some aggravation out of your life.
Oh, actually, on that, I haven't used it. I just saw it come up, so I'm wondering if anyone has thoughts. Google Chrome now has like a inbuilt password manager thing, and I'm wondering if any of you have. You're making unhappy noises.
I've used Firefoxes before, and it's okay, but it's not a repository for everything.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just like, we were talking about, using the login with Facebook and the login with Google. There's just too much information attached to that. I mean, if you want to use the built-in Chrome or Firefox for, say, like logging into Ravelry, as long as you're not dealing with money, I'd say go for it. If you were just going into like dig for patterns, perfect. I had, well, back before I got Dashlane, I was using the built-in one in Firefox. And all of a sudden there was a Firefox update that like just hosed all of my usernames and passwords. And there were a lot of very colorful 4-letter words. Again, a conversation that even the poor dog shouldn't have heard.
And on top of that, you can, and don't ask me how I know this, you can accidentally erase all of your passwords using a browser maintained password.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Dashlane, the reason that I went with them was they say they have like the best encryption. And the really cool thing about it is if a site like if Facebook is compromised, when you pull up Dashlane, it will come up and it will tell you, hey, you need to change your password because there was a security breach. And I realize it's different, when you're in a bigger business environment, like I am at the day job versus a personal or even a, small startup business. But the thing is, you don't want to just look at the end of your nose. You want to look long term. How am I going to be safe?
The other one that I've started doing, and not everything offers it, but a lot of things do, is the 2-step authentication. So I log into somewhere like, I'll take MailChimp, I need a password, but then it also texts me a phone number, it texts me on my phone a number I have to punch in.
Yep.
So that's another one that I've started doing. And it's a little bit annoying, but it's worth it. Because it's not hard.
No, it's not. You just have to have reliable cell service.
Point.
Which I do not. So,
okay, fair.
I have one little spot at the corner of my dining room table in the house where I can set my phone at an angle, so it's like if it had eyes, it would be looking out the window, not through any trees, unencumbered by anything. And some days I can actually get 2 bars.
Okay, I
Other
guess
days,
the city girl roots are showing here.
other days it's like 1. So, if you've got good cell phone service, absolutely. I wouldn't recommend that I wouldn't do it, because there's enough frustration in my days every day that I ain't going to add anything.
Right.
So, that's two-factor authentication is really good. I mean, I wish I could seriously take advantage of it more. As it is, I rely on Dashlane, and if it comes up and says, hey, Facebook was breached and you need to change your password, well, let me tell you, toot sweet, I go do it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like having somebody out there looking out for me, where that bookkeeping fairy or that safety fairy or whatever the heck you want to call it. So, there are definitely advantages, big time advantages. So that's kind of like, our social media, logging in, security, blah, blah, blah. The other thing I wanted to touch on briefly, and I talked about this a little bit last week, was using Tailwind versus Later to schedule social media posts on Pinterest and Instagram. And I sat there last week and I said, for the life of me, I don't remember why I decided not to go with Tailwind. And I went back and I looked, and it was the price. I mean, yes, Tailwind will post automatically. It will post at whatever it figures is the best time, blah, blah, blah. But when it came down to it, I mean, like everybody else, I have a budget. And everything I do for Yarny Bookkeeper comes out of my pocket. Because, I mean, obviously, I don't charge for any of this. I don't charge for anything that I put up on the site. I don't charge memberships for anything. And the freebies that I give away, I don't charge for them either. So everything is coming out of my own pocket. And, it's not that I'm broke. It's just that, I have a budget for this, and
Well, this
that budget
adds up.
It does. It's like every monthly subscription that you have is going to nickel and dime you to death.
Yep.
And yeah, okay, you got $10 for this and $9 for this and $3 for that and $4 for that. Well, the next thing you know, it's $100 a month, $1,200 a year.
Yep.
To what? Give away everything for free? So being a business person and paying attention to my numbers, I always look at what am I willing to spend money on that's going to make my life easier, and what am I not going to spend money on. Now, obviously, Dashlane at $29 a year, I'm going to spend the money because it makes my life easier. There's somebody out, kind of sort of out there looking out for me. Am I going to pay the Tailwind fees per month to automatically post for me? No, because I can use Later, and I actually have better control over what I'm posting and when, because I have found I did a trial of Tailwind, and their quote unquote best times that they publish for you, I wasn't getting any response. So I started playing around with Later and saying, well, I want to try this here today at 10 o'clock, and then I want to try tomorrow at, say, noon, and the next day I want to try 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and blah, blah, blah. And I found I get more reaction on Instagram than doing it myself with Later. And okay, fine. Later says you can have 30 Instagram posts and 30 Pinterest posts per month. But you know what? That's okay. I don't need to post every hour. I post once a day, and I'm pretty happy with the engagement. It probably could be better, but the more people who follow me, the more people who do this, the more things I'm going to end up doing. And I don't have the time to end up doing all of those things. So when I had a choice between using Later for free or using Tailwind and paying a fee, or buying a year-long subscription to Canva at $8.95 a month, because being blind in one eye and not being able to see out of the other one half the time, pictures are really tough for me. I said, okay, it makes more sense for me to invest my money in Canva to do the pictures and do all the cute little graphic things. And the reason that I went with the paid subscription for Canva is I can create an Instagram post, and I can save it, and then I can copy and resize it for Pinterest without having to go through the motions and recreate that whole little thing. And for $8.95 a month, that was like, yeah, that one I will do, because that saves me time, because you can spend half day easy getting just that right picture.
I got a quick question for you, actually, because you were talking about a couple of the Instagram things, and Instagram's wonky about third-party apps. So I'm wondering how it handles that. Like, Instagram's got that big thing, but you can't use a third party to post to Instagram. So is that still a thing?
It is, but like anything else, there are approved third-party apps.
Ah, okay, that's what it is.
Okay, Tailwind is an approved one. So is Later.
Okay, that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think you can post to Instagram with Hootsuite, although maybe you can if you buy Hootsuite's paid version.
Okay, because I remember there was something where like you couldn't post to Instagram because it's more particular. Is that the right grammar? Like, or particular about third-party apps and things like Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah, it is, and that's why you have to be an approved app.
Okay.
And literally, you will have to, like, when I first set up Tailwind, I had to go and approve it with my Instagram account, and had to do the same thing with Later. And Later you can use off your phone, your iPad, your Android. And there's also a plugin for Google Chrome, and I'm sure there is one for Firefox as well. And if you're out browsing on the web somewhere and you see something that you like, you hit that little Later button, and it says, it'll take you off to your calendar. And, you just like with Pinterest, you can select what images you want to drag along with you. And you can sit there and, you can type up your little blurb and, put in your hashtags, and you can say, I want to do this at 4 o'clock. And at 4 o'clock, you'll get this little reminder that comes up and says, hey, that you've got a post ready to go to Instagram or to Pinterest. And you just go and you swipe it and swipe again and paste in your little commentary and you post it. I mean, it
nice.
takes seconds. So, again, the whole thing is about automation. You can sit down and, I mean, I sit at night between like 8:30 and 9:00, 9:30, and I just kind of surf the web. That's like my rundown downtime time to go futz around on social media. And, I'll see something that I like and, I'll schedule it on out. And, you literally can, next thing you know, you got like 30 days worth of content, so, and unless of course you feel like you need to, be posting, pinning, whatever, every 35 seconds.
That's a good way to alienate your audience, by the way.
It is. I mean, I know for me, what I hate is, and Facebook is like insane. I go log into Facebook and it's like, I got 999 alerts, and it's people I know who have. And I'm sorry if there's any of you out there listening, but I don't care what time you got up. I don't care what time you had your first cup of coffee. I don't care what the hell you had for breakfast. And I don't care what time you took your dog for a walk. I mean, in a lot of respects, I'm like super old school. And my grandmother, my dad's mom, if she were alive now, she would be, okay, hang on, I got to do some math. Oh my God. She'd be 139 years old. She always used to say, don't air your dirty laundry in public. And it's like, I swear, that's all that's happening these days.
Well, it seems to be, like I said, it's the question of versus, even in the personal Facebook, on the personal side of it, is there, sure, you can share things, but what's the value? No one's going to care when you take the dog for a walk. But if you talk about, I don't know, I'm going to make something off the top. If you talk about taking the dog for a walk and you slipped and fell because the sidewalk wasn't cleared in your city, and that starts a discussion on the importance of sidewalk clearing. I'm going off the fly here, but you folks take my point. And I think there's value in some of the smaller, like, I did a thing today and this is what happened. But yeah, even your friends probably don't care when you took the dog for a walk.
Yeah, or what you had for lunch. I mean, it's just there's no privacy anymore.
Well, there are things that if you're overwhelmed with notifications in Facebook, you can go. Now, it's a little bit cumbersome because you have to go to each and every person's profile, but you can tell it to either not get notifications from that person or to only get some notifications from that person. You can get them off of your wall altogether without defriending them, which is called unfollow in Facebook. So if you find that you're overwhelmed with it, I am friends with so many people on Facebook that I never see a blessed thing they do because they're either way too political, which I'm just not going to go there, or they want to share every little thing they do every day, and I don't care about your fifth cup of coffee, just like you. So yeah, you can go in there and do that. It's going to take time though.
Well, that of course presumes that notifications are working properly, because one of the things over on YouTube where people aren't, like, people who want to be notified aren't getting notified, and people who are not, so this does presume the notification systems are working properly.
Well, there's that too.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of assumptions everywhere, and all of this stuff takes up so much of our time.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, here, just the three of us sitting here, you know, it's a half hour out of our work week every week that we come sit and chit chat. And yes, it's wonderful. Don't get me wrong.
But it's
You know,
still time.
it's still time.
Yeah.
And
You
time
know,
Okay,
and-
right, but
and you know, it's just like I put that little poll in the other day in the group and said, you know, help me help you guys. What are you more interested in? Learning how to do bookkeeping and spreadsheets, and learn how to do quick bookkeeping in QuickBooks Online, something that was designed for bookkeeping, or learn how to do bookkeeping in QuickBooks Desktop, which again is something that is designed to do bookkeeping. I honestly, I was really flabbergasted at how many people were interested in learning how to do books in using spreadsheets. And the reason for that is, think of it, spreadsheets. Okay, it's not a single sheet, it's multiple sheets. And you've got to be able to, you know, you've got to have basic computer skills and basic skills with the spreadsheet software, whether it's Excel or Google Sheets. You've got to know how to format, you've got to know how to do formulas, you know, you got to know how this affects that, and blah blah blah. And you know, yeah, and not to say that, you know, QuickBooks, whether desktop or online, you've got that learning curve, but once you get it set up, it's set up. And if you
sorry.
need to add a new category, you just go add that category, and you know, you start using it. Whereas with Excel, if you've got, okay, let's say you have a new expense category. Okay, we have 12 months. So you've got to, in reality, add that category to 13 different spreadsheets, you know, in order to make sure that everything flows in correctly.
And I admit I'm one of those folks who does do my accounting in spreadsheets, and you're gonna cringe, I know. But I like I have the background. I know the formula set up. Like I went in and designed this thing. So for me, it's I do enjoy it. But even me, I'm looking at it, I know how to use a spreadsheet. I've done my formulas, and I'm still going, I should probably take a look at QuickBooks. Will this work for me? Because and I can't imagine like if you didn't know how to like code formulas and macros and formatting, like I can't imagine how you would do your bookkeeping in spreadsheets. Like again,
Well, and
I know
I
this
think
stuff.
I think that's part of the issue too,
Yeah.
is the people who wanted to do all of this in a spreadsheet is, number one, they don't understand what it takes to do all of this stuff in a spreadsheet
Well, I mean,
in an effective manner, and they don't know a whole hell of a lot about bookkeeping either. And
well, I mean,
that's
for
part
me,
of-
I also was lucky enough to get a template for my my business mentorship course, and they'd filled in the kind of the broad strokes of the Excel template, and then I took it from there. So I shortcutted the beginning process as well.
yeah.
So again, I had that to build off of, which saved me a lot of time. Yeah.
Seriously, but I
Yeah.
mean, it saved you time because you had the backbone knowledge.
Yes, exactly. Like I could not imagine. Like I could be like, oh, on a spreadsheet in Excel. I'm like, can you do complicated formulas? No. Oh boy.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, I have. Well, you can ask Janice, and actually, in some of the earlier videos this year, last year, and the last year, I don't know. I talked about, you know, doing a webinar course on designing a bookkeeping system, and I said, okay, you know, before I do this, let's see what the hell I get into.
Make a long story short, she abandoned that.
Yeah, I mean,
I did.
I can see why.
You know, I mean, it would be one thing if I had 10 people in a group who all knew basic Excel stuff. I could very well go in and say, okay, this is how you use this, and this is kind of what you need to do. And, here you go. Because, I would give you the same thing that you got, Sarah. I'd give you that backbone and I would say to you, okay, now customize this to meet your needs of you're a designer, you're a yarn dyer, you're a tech editor, you're a maker. Let's go in and fine tune this to give you what you need based on what you do. But to have to teach people how to do the macros, do the formulas, even something as simple as getting the first sheet correct.
I gotta step out. I got the painters coming right now. I'll be back. Sorry.
Okay. I just said
you end up training them on software, which is not part of your objective, and it's time consuming. You're not getting anything out of it, and it's So no, I absolutely understand.
To be honest, it's frustrating.
Oh, for sure.
Because I mean there is only so much I can do via video.
Yeah.
And then comes the next step of, do I need to log into somebody's computer like I do in the day job at $125 an hour?
Yep.
And literally take your mouse and show you how to do this. And it was like, nope, ain't going there.
I know Sarah stepped away, but we've run over our half hour, and I have to go.
I do too. I have to call one of those people at $125 an hour who's probably not going to want me to want to do that once I tell them that this is not a free service.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no problems helping people for free. Obviously, I mean, look at what I do.
Yep.
But there comes a point where I have to draw a line, and either I have to start charging for this stuff.
Yeah.
Or I just have to say, sorry, I've looked all this over and I just can't. I mean, I put in that, tax time bookkeeping spreadsheet last week in the group. And that was designed to just get the year done.
Yeah.
And a lot of people unfortunately think that one single spreadsheet is all you need.
Oh boy. Yes.
It's just that annual overview. Well, hello, somewhere you've got to have all of those spreadsheets that document those monthly amounts.
Yep.
And you see, I belong to another group, and they put up a single one-page spreadsheet and said, here, this is all you need to do your bookkeeping. And it's like,
I've actually got to step off the call. I've got to go with the painters and whatnot. I will see you folks next week, I hope.
Yes.
Perfect. Yes, we will be here. Same time, same station. Maybe
same bat time, same bat channel.
Yeah, well, no. Next week we're going to use something new in YouTube called Camera, because I think Google Hangouts is going away.
I thought so.
I think.
Me. Okay. Anyway, we'll find out. I got to step off. I will see you folks next week.
All right.
Thank you all. Bye.
Right.